The Man Who Loved Children is a novel penned by Australian author Christina Stead. Initially published in 1940, it remained largely unnoticed until its reissue in 1965, accompanied by an introduction from poet Randall Jarrell. Jarrell's commendation of the novel's penetrating portrayal of familial conflicts sparked renewed interest, propelling the book to garner critical acclaim. Over time, it has come to be regarded as one of the greatest English-language works of the century. The narrative revolves around the dysfunctional Pollit family, led by Sam and Henrietta, commonly known as Henny. At the story's outset, the couple has been leading almost separate lives, harboring mutual contempt and communicating primarily through their children. The family consists of 7 children, including Louisa, Louis, Sam's daughter from a previous marriage. As the oldest child, Louis, who is 11 years old when the book begins, becomes the central figure, alongside her parents. The Pollit family resides in Tahoga House, an expansive yet deteriorating estate in Washington that they rent from Henny's father. The story commences with Henny returning home after a brief absence, prompting her children's curiosity about her day. Responding with her customary outbursts, which the children have grown accustomed to, she retires to play solitaire in solitude. Later, Sam arrives home from a work-related function, revealing that he has been chosen to join an American anthropological expedition in the Pacific. The only person present at the house is Louisa, to whom Sam shares the news of his appointment. On the following Sunday, Sam wakes his children and enlists the help of his sons, Ernie, the twin Sam Jr., and Saul, and Tommy, to paint the house. Sam relishes spending time with his children, regaling them with stories and captivating the neighboring kids. He designates Ernest as the one in charge during his absence, which unsettles the other boys. Encouraging Ernest and Saul to engage in physical altercations, Sam goads Saul, highlighting his perceived weaknesses. On Sunday, Henny spends her time with Bert Anderson, a wealthy bachelor who provides her with the attention she craves. Meanwhile, Louis visits the kids, an elderly couple in the neighborhood. Despite rumors circulating about Mr. Kidd mistreating his wife, Mrs. Kidd is always kind to Louis and speaks warmly of her husband. During the visit, Mrs. Kidd mentions that they have taken in a cat but cannot afford to keep it, and she lacks the strength to euthanize it. Louis agrees to fulfill the favor and drowns the cat. Sam's older sister, Jo, pays him a visit and brings news about their younger sister, Bonnie, who works as a maid at Tahoga House. Jo and Sam attempt to persuade Bonnie to end her affair with a married man. Later, when Henny returns home, Jo tries to engage her in the gossip, but Henny remains disinterested. This leads to an argument between Henny and Sam about their financial situation. The evening escalates into a heated fight, during which Sam strikes Henny. Eventually, they reconcile and agree to have another child. Louis spends the summer with her mother's family and enjoys her time there. Upon her return, Henny takes Louis and Evie, their other daughter, to visit Henny's father, a wealthy man residing on a lavish estate. During the visit, Henny engages in a discussion with her mother about different methods of suicide. Meanwhile, the maid at Tahoga House mocks Louis, referring to her as an orphan, which ultimately leads to the maid's dismissal. As Sam remains in Malaya, the family faces financial hardships. The house lacks heating, and Henny, now pregnant, experiences misery. The children frequently write letters to Sam, and Louis comforts them by creating imaginative stories about Sam's adventures in the Pacific. Sam struggles in Malaya, finding it difficult to withstand the heat. He hires a Chinese man named Lai Wan-ho to manage his office, but later discovers that Lai Wan-ho has run away due to financial troubles. Realizing he is in over his head, Sam decides to return home. Sam's homecoming is celebrated with a grand party attended by his parents and siblings. Sam becomes enraged when he discovers that his brother has spiked the punch at a party held in their home, as he strictly forbids alcohol. This leads to another intense fight with Henny, this time in front of their guests and family. Shortly after, Henny gives birth to a baby boy named Charles. Unfortunately, Henny's father passes away, leaving no inheritance as he had squandered the family's money. Henny had relied on that money to settle her debts. To make matters worse, Tahoga Place must be sold to cover her father's debts. With the loss of her father's influence, rumors begin circulating about Sam's competence and potential infidelity at work. He is placed on unpaid leave. The family relocates to a rundown house in an impoverished area of Annapolis. Sam insists that he can repair the home with the help of the children. Eventually, Sam receives formal notice of his suspension, which he surprisingly welcomes as it gives him more time to spend with his children. Louisa begins to discover her own identity at school, realizing her talent for writing and befriending a classmate named Claire. They bond over their creativity and admiration for their teacher, Miss Aden. Sam makes an effort to meet Claire, taking her and Louisa out for ice cream. Soon, Ernie informs Sam that Louis has a secret diary. Sam retrieves it, intending to entertain the family, but discovers that it is written in code. He coerces Louis to translate and read her diary aloud. Feeling humiliated and furious, Louis lashes out at Sam. After receiving a lecture, she mocks him for his ignorance and naivety, much like Henny often does. Henny spends most of her time with her sister, while Sam dedicates himself to spending time with the children. A similar incident occurs with Ernie, when Sam discovers that he has been hoarding lumps of coal under his bed to sell. Sam mocks him for this in front of the other children. Subsequently, Ernie notices that several items have gone missing from the house. When Ernie questions his mother about the missing items, she deceitfully claims that they are with the rest of the family. However, he eventually discovers that she has sold them. To his dismay, he finds that she has also emptied his savings from his money box and replaced them with foreign currency. Louisa writes a play depicting an oblivious father who alienates his daughter, and she persuades Ernie and Evie to perform it on Sam's birthday. Sam becomes furious, although Louisa fails to comprehend why. Later that evening, Miss Aden joins them for dinner and is appalled by the deplorable living conditions in the house. After Miss Aden's departure, Sam decides to build a bookshelf for Louisa and stumbles upon a book of poetry she has written about her teacher. The poems express deep feelings of love and admiration for Miss Aden. Once again, Sam shares the contents of the book with the family, causing embarrassment for Louis. An anonymous letter addressed to Sam is discovered, accusing Henny of having an affair during Sam's time in Asia and suggesting that their youngest child may not be his. As the parents argue about the letter, Louis distracts the other children with her stories. The following morning, Henny erupts in a fit of rage, threatening to harm herself or the rest of the family. She goes to meet Bert Anderson, who promises to see her again but fails to show up. Feeling abandoned, she goes to stay with her sister. When Henny returns home after a few days, she finds the family in complete disarray. Sam has neglected the children, allowing them to feed themselves with raw bacon and nuts. Henny discovers the baby in the yard, eating its own excrement. Sam's friend presents him with a large fish, which he decides to boil down for fish oil. To do this, he sets a fire under the bathtub, and the children take turns watching the fire at night. The following morning, Sam instructs the kids to dispose of the remaining fish at a garbage heap. The stench causes Sam Jr. to vomit, and Sam mocks him for his perceived weakness, dumping the remnants of the fish onto his son and ordering him to clean the bathtub. Meanwhile, feeling trapped and desperate to escape her tumultuous family life, Louis entertains the idea of killing her parents. She concocts a plan to poison them with cyanide by adding it to their morning tea. However, her mother, Henny, senses that something is amiss when she arrives and interrupts the scheme. Soon after, Sam, Louis's father, returns home, and Henny, knowing the danger Louis poses, takes the poison herself, causing her immediate death. In the midst of this tragic event, Louis stumbles upon a mannequin suspended from a rope in Ernie's room, assuming it to be a practice run for a suicide attempt. The family finally uncovers the extent of Henny's debts, shedding light on the financial troubles that plagued them. The community begins to show more sympathy towards Sam, and he secures a job at a radio station, where he shares his captivating stories. Louis confides in Sam about her intentions to kill him and Henny, and subsequently, she decides to leave the house. At the age of 14, she embarks on a journey without any concrete plans, but relishes the freedom she has finally attained. Initially set in Australia, The Man Who Loved Children underwent a change of setting to Washington when it gained popularity among American readers. Renowned authors, including Robert Stone, have praised the novel for its ability to capture the essence of a specific type of American man and family, despite not being explicitly written about America. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.